This is a short tutorial on using the Rode recording app with an external microphone for field recording. This particular app is only for iPhones and iPads. There are similar apps for Android phones and tablets, and the settings will be similar. You should look at one called RecForge Pro. The first thing to do is to press the Rode app button. This might not be the first page that you see when you start, but I'll point that page out later. This button in the upper left is the About button. This page is handy as it has an operation manual and a support link. Now click Done. Press the microphone icon down on the lower left. This is the page that you might see when you first open the Rode recording app. It allows you to choose the sample rate. The higher the frequency, the higher the quality, but it takes up more memory. You can also select the channels. In most cases, you will use mono. You would need a special microphone to use stereo. Next, push the Save button. I'll skip the Next button. It allows you to adjust the display settings, and you can read about it in the manual. The plus button in the center on the bottom starts a recording. Click it. On the recording page, there are several buttons to consider. At the bottom, the Details button gives you information about the settings that have already been selected. To get back to the recording page, if you press this button, you'll need to press Recordings at the top left, and then the blue circle with the arrow in it. I'll also skip this button. You can read about the properties in the manual. The more important button for us is the Settings button on the lower right. Go ahead and click on it. You'll now see this page. Now click on the Input line. The IXY line allows you to use a special stereo microphone made by Rode. This is the IXY microphone for the older 30-pin iPhone port, and it costs about $140 from Amazon. There's also a newer one for the Lightning port for about $190. These might not be the best for capturing bird songs at a distance. A short shotgun microphone would be better. A shotgun microphone has a way of canceling out sounds coming from the sides and focusing more on sounds directly in front of it. Think of it like a camera lens with a narrow field of view. Here's an inexpensive one by Polson for $55 at B&H Photo and Video. It's set up to be used with a camcorder and has an 1/8" plug. If you're considering getting more serious about recording, you should look at one with an XLR connector. The microphone gain can be adjusted here by sliding the button. This presets the microphone input level on the recording page. You can override the preset level while recording if needed. There's another control for input coming up in a moment. I'm not exactly sure what iOS processing does, but the manual states that it is destructive to the recording in that it alters the recording as it's being recorded. It's usually better to make changes after recording in post-production. A high-pass filter lets you eliminate lower frequency audio such as wind noise. To pass is to save. Everything higher than the frequency you select is passed by or saved. It would be best not to use this feature, especially if recording a lower frequency vocalization from, say, a band-tailed pigeon, and you can apply a high-pass filter in post-production anyway. Here's the other control for input, the digital boost. There are technical terms that affect audio input, gain and attenuation, and I don't understand them. What I do know is that the microphone gain slider, in this case, presets the input level on the recording page. If you set it in the middle, the microphone input level on the recording page is now preset in the middle. The input range is still the same. I'll say a relative 1 to 10, but it's preset in the middle and it can be changed on the recording page. The digital boost shifts the input range. If it was on the lowest setting in the example above, and you increase it, the input range increases. I'll say it's now a relative 20 to 30. If recording something loud, have the digital boost set low. Set it higher for recording something softer. The playthrough button should be turned on if you want to listen to what's being recorded through your headphones during recording. Using headphones can help to set the best recording level. Otherwise, you're limited to only looking at the input meter and getting close but not into the red to avoid distortion. You will need an adapter to allow the use of a microphone and headphones at the same time. Here's an example of one using a microphone that has an 1/8" connector. You can also get one for an XLR microphone, but this and the microphone would be more expensive. Note that the 1/8" plugs for both of these have 4 connection collars instead of the usual 3 seen on your typical headphones. This is essential for using the microphone and headphones at the same time with a smartphone. I'm going to skip the processing section. The manual will have more information about it. Again, in general, it's better to do processing in post-production. I use a sound editing program called Audacity. You can download it for free online. Now let's return to the recording page. Click on the word Recordings at the top left. Then select Save as Default Settings. Next, select the recording you're working on by clicking on the blue circle with the right-facing arrow. Be careful not to select a finished recording, as you might accidentally record over it. I believe you can adjust the settings to avoid this problem. Click on the microphone icon to adjust the recording level. Its starting position will be preset at whatever level you set the microphone gain at in the input section. Here, the input is set at maximum. By sliding the button to the left, you reduce the recording level. When done, click on the microphone icon again. This icon adjusts the speaker or headphone volume. You want to set it very low or off to avoid feedback if you're not using headphones. Click on the speaker volume button again when finished. To start recording, simply press the record button. Watch the input level at the top. You want to get close but avoid going into the red to avoid distortion or clipping. You might have to adjust the input on the recording page or go back to microphone gain or digital boost in the settings section to get the best input level. To stop, press stop. For playback on this page, grab the little gray box shown here and drag it all the way to the left and then press play. Now that you've recorded something, you can send it out via email, SoundCloud, or Dropbox. Press the Recordings button at the top left to look at all of your recordings. In this case, there is only one. Press the Send icon at the top right. At first it looks as if nothing has happened, but look for the circle next to the recordings. Click to put a check mark in the circle of the recording you want to share. Then click Share down on the right. This page shows you the options for sharing your recordings. If you have a SoundCloud or Dropbox account, you can use these. I believe they work better for higher quality lossless formats such as a WAV format. Or you can send your recording via email. Click on Email. The recording file default is a WAV format, but for email you can switch to an MP3 format by clicking Format here. You might see that WAV was selected initially, but click on MP3 to change the format. And MP3 uploads much more quickly. Now return to Email and click on Create Email. Select whom you want to send it to and press Send. I hope this tutorial was helpful. I tried to be brief and cover the essentials for using a microphone for field recording with the Rode Recording app. The manual covers much more detail. The Rode app allows for editing your recordings on your iPhone or iPad, but I prefer to download my recordings to my computer and to use the open source sound editing program Audacity to clean up my recordings.